Los Angeles sparkled under the warm June sky, but in Brentwood, a sinister darkness settled over the night. On June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson, a beautiful woman with golden hair and a quiet, almost haunted smile, stepped onto her porch. She had just returned from her daughter Sydney's dance recital, where her ex-husband, Orenthal James O.J. Simpson, had watched from the audience. Their marriage, once filled with passion, had crumbled under years of domestic violence, moments of affection shattered by abuse. Nicole had filed for divorce in 1992, seeking freedom, but OJ's presence still loomed, heavy and inescapable. That night, she wasn't alone. Ronald Goldman, a 25-year-old waiter with boyish charm and dreams of an acting career, arrived at her condominium at 875 South Bundy Drive. He was there to return a pair of glasses Nicole's mother had left at Mezzaluna, the trendy Brentwood restaurant where he worked. Kind, respectful, and unaware, Ron stepped into a deadly trap. In the quiet, moonlit hours, horror unfolded. Nicole and Ron were brutally murdered outside her condo. Nicole's throat was slashed with such force she was nearly decapitated, her body collapsing on the walkway. Ron, likely arriving mid-attack, fought desperately but succumbed to multiple stab wounds. Blood pooled across the pavement, a grim contrast to Brentwood's manicured serenity. A small Akita dog wandered the neighborhood, its paws stained red, whimpering to passersby, a silent witness to the carnage. By morning, Brentwood awoke to sirens and hushed rumors. The grisly crime sent shockwaves through the city, and soon the nation was gripped by the unfolding drama. O.J. Simpson's name flooded headlines, television screens, and conversations. A former NFL superstar who had dazzled with the Buffalo Bills, he had transcended sports to become a beloved actor and pitchman. His megawatt smile lit up Hertz commercials and films, making him a symbol of the American dream. A black man who had broken barriers. But beneath the charisma lay a darker reality, a history of jealousy, rage, and violence. The Los Angeles Police Department had responded to domestic calls at the Simpson home multiple times, and Nicole's journal entries later revealed chronicled her terror of OJ's temper. The evidence was overwhelming. Blood at the crime scene matched Simpson's DNA with chilling precision. A left-hand glove, soaked in the victim's blood, was found near the bodies. Its right-hand counterpart, stained with both victims' and OJ's blood, was discovered behind his Rockingham Estates guest house. Bloody footprints matched his rare size 12 Bruno Magli shoes, a brand he owned. Hair and fiber evidence further tied him to the scene. Prosecutors would later call it a mountain of evidence, each piece pointing to the former star. But when notified he was a suspect, O.J. didn't turn himself in. On June 17, 1994, he fled, triggering a televised spectacle that transfixed the world. In a white Ford Bronco driven by friend Al Cowlings, Simpson sat in the back seat, a gun to his head. Police followed in a slow-speed chase as helicopters swarmed overhead. An estimated 95 million Americans watched, glued to their screens. Some saw a man unraveling, contemplating suicide. Others saw a fugitive fleeing justice. The chase paralyzed Los Angeles. Traffic halted and crowds lined overpasses, some waving signs proclaiming, "Go OJ." It was a surreal moment, blending tragedy, celebrity, and spectacle. Hours later, Simpson surrendered at his Brentwood home, arrested and charged with double murder. The trial, beginning in January 1995, was dubbed the Trial of the Century. Televised daily, it turned prosecutors, defense attorneys, and witnesses into celebrities. The prosecution, led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden, presented their forensic evidence with confidence, believing it airtight. But the defense, a dream team including Johnny Cochran, Robert Shapiro, F. Lee Bailey, and Robert Kardashian, pivoted to a bold narrative. The LAPD, tainted by racism, had framed O.J. They zeroed in on Detective Mark Furman, whose recorded racial slurs and questionable conduct suggested he might have planted the glove. The trial's defining moment came during a dramatic courtroom demonstration. Prosecutors asked O.J. to try on the blood-stained gloves. Wearing latex gloves underneath, he struggled, making the gloves appear too small. The fit looked awkward, almost staged. Johnny Cochran seized the moment, delivering a line that echoed through history. "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." The phrase, catchy and devastating, became a cultural touchstone, encapsulating the defense's strategy of sowing doubt. On October 3, 1995, the verdict was announced, not guilty. Nicole's family sat in stunned silence, tears streaming down their faces. Ron's sister, Kim Goldman, stormed out, consumed by grief and rage. Outside, reactions split sharply. For many in the Black community, the verdict symbolized resistance to a justice system long biased against them. For others, it was a miscarriage of justice, where fame, wealth, and legal theatrics trumped evidence. The story didn't end there. In 1997, the Goldman and Brown families filed a civil lawsuit against Simpson, where the burden of proof is lower. A jury found him liable for the wrongful deaths, ordering him to pay $33.5 million, a sum he never fully repaid, citing financial ruin. In 2007, O.J.'s life unraveled further. Arrested in Las Vegas for armed robbery and kidnapping after a confrontation over sports memorabilia he claimed was stolen, he faced a harsh reckoning. In 2008, he was sentenced to 33 years in prison, a term many saw as belated justice. He served 9 years before parole in 2017. In 2006, Simpson announced If I Did It, a book billed as a hypothetical confession. Public outrage forced its cancellation, but the Goldman family later published it as If I Did It, Confessions of the Killer, with "if" nearly invisible on the cover, a stark rebuke to Simpson's narrative. The O.J. Simpson case remains a cultural mirror, reflecting the seductive power of fame, the fragility of the justice system, and America's deep racial and social divides. Acquitted, yet forever shadowed, it leaves a lingering question. Was it justice or an illusion crafted by a masterful defense and a divided nation?